Hey guys, this is Jessie with Greenwood. Welcome back. I thought today I would touch base with you guys and talk about something kind of important. Every year, between mid February and the beginning of March, our farm page is flooded with people wanting to get into rabbits. So I thought today I would talk to you guys about 10 things to consider before you get into rabbits, just to make sure that rabbits are for you. Today I'm going to let you guys just kind of come along here and visit with the rabbit head, the lion head colony. I figured they're a lot prettier to look at, so I'll leave them in focus while we go through our 10 things to consider before getting into rabbits. Number 1, why are you going to keep them? Are you looking for pets? Are you looking to get into show? And then consider with show, you're going to have to track lineage, do pedigreeing, make sure you're, preserving breed integrity. Are you looking to do meat, either for yourself or as a side business or hustle? These are all things that you need to consider. Once you have it locked down, what your goal is, you need to know it and you need to own it. Number 2, time management. This is a big one, guys. Depending on the size of your herd, you're looking at anywhere from 15 to 45 minutes plus on just feeding and watering. That's hauling the feed, filling the J feeders or bowls, filling your water source, stuff like that. Do you have the time to dedicate to this? Number 3, space. Space is a big one, guys. Understand that you will be sacrificing a parcel of your property to bunnies. Do you have an area that is suitable for them, adequate shade and temperature management, things like that you can provide, that you're willing to sacrifice to bunnies? So that's something to consider. Number 4, what are you going to do, and this is a big one, with all that poop? Bunnies are poop factories. One of the biggest things that people do with rabbit manure is they use it as fertilizer. It's what's considered a cold fertilizer, so it can literally go straight from the source right onto your plants. What we do, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, she just did the sweetest little sploot. So what we do is I do a hybrid system of colony, and I will go into that in depth in another video, but the poop falls through, and then down below, instead of me having to worry about it so much, I run chickens. I'll throw an igloo in there so they have a nice safe spot, and then they turn it up for me. You throw a little corn down there, and they will stir it all up till they get every single kernel. But alternatively, I've seen people take old house window screens, they'll take it out, they'll dry it, they'll Ziploc bag it and sell it that way. I know one lady that actually doesn't go through the whole chicken turning process. She'll just go through, scoop under her coops, and she fills up old feed bags and sells it that way too. But consider what you're going to do with all that poop. And let me tell you guys, there's going to be a lot of poop. The next thing to consider is number 5 would be the smell. Well, rabbit manure doesn't smell. The buildup of it underneath the cages and the urine does. I don't care how much carbon you feed it, the smell will go away momentarily. But the moment you go to scoop or to muck out all that poo, oh my gosh, the ammonia is strong. The smell is strong. And depending on how long it's taken you before you went through and mucked it, it lingers for a while. Are you going to be able to stomach that smell? It's a very pungent, unique smell, and that's something to consider. Are you going to be able to handle that? So the next thing I'd like to discuss with you guys is if you're going, this mainly pertains to meat rabbits. If you're going to do meat rabbits, are you going to be able to dispatch them yourself? If that is something you're looking, oh, don't look at me like that. Sorry. She's up there with her judgy face. Let me see if I can show you. She's totally judging us, guys. Yeah, she's like, what did you say? Anyway, sorry. Oh no, her too. Anyways, are you going to be able to follow through with the actual butchering process? I mean, it's not terribly hard to get attached to something that you've literally interacted with from birth. And it is a process. You will be there every step of the way. You will feel very committed to these animals, which you should. I mean, this is a very important part of, well, your food triangle and their life. Are you going to be able to actually follow through and handle the butchering process? That is a very big thing to consider. I mean, you can still do the meat rabbit thing without doing the processing for yourself if there's a market. So that's where you need to take the time to go, is there a market for this? Am I going to invest all this time, energy, educating myself, and then for what? There not to be a market? Then what are they for me? What purpose are they going to serve then? So number 7 on things to consider is predators. Predators are everywhere, my friends. Whether you're in a rural area, urban area, cats, dogs, possums, raccoons, and snakes, yes, snakes are an issue. They will absolutely do what they can to get in the cage. They will eat your whole litters. That's profit loss. That's time, energy loss. That's wear and tear on your does lost. How are you going to Sorry. The farm is alive today, y'all. Okay, I think we're good now. How are you going to prevent loss of your resources, your time, energy wasted? How are you going to keep anything else that wants to anything else that wants to eat your rabbits at bay? Okay, so after we talk about predators, which was number 7, number 8 is going to be investing in your litters. This also kind of ties in with time management, but it's a little more intensive. I'm sorry, y'all. The chickens are trying to talk. What I mean is, on average, you're going to be investing 12 weeks of time, energy, and effort into each litter. On average, rabbits are, depending on your feed schedule, I'll use my feed schedule as for an example. My rabbits are fed half a cup of pellet in the morning, which, let me see, they get the half cup here. And of course, I do unlimited hay and stuff like that, but half a cup of pellet in the morning and half a cup of pellet in the evening per rabbit. When your doe is pregnant, you need to up that to 3/4 cup or free feeding, even keeping her constantly fed so that she has enough nutrition within her body to produce a viable litter. Then it goes up from there. Depending on the amount of babies that she has, you now have an 8-week period, if not 10 to 12, depending on the breed and its purpose, that you are going to be feeding and investing in those. Investing in that litter per litter. Are you going to have the resources, energy, and time to do this? Then, and on top of that, kind of off subject, when it comes to weaning your litter, are you going to have the time and space and energy and all of that to house them separately in a grow out pen? These are things to consider when you're investing in your litters. Next. So number 9 is a big one that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and that is weatherizing or weatherproofing your caging. This is a big one. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, guys. He's a star. It doesn't help that I'm up here talking, and he's one of the ones down below. I don't know if you can see. He's cleaning for us, and he wants us all to know that he's there. Anyways, I'm so sorry. So we were talking about weatherizing or, weatherproofing your caging. I'm so sorry. He's talkative today. So things to consider. Right now, it's a nice, beautiful, sunny spring day. But, for instance, I'm from Florida. So down south, they say it up here too, if you don't like the weather, wait 15 minutes, it'll change. Freak weather happens. Be it unexpected snowstorms, unexpected rain, any of that, drought, anything. You need a cage that is going to absolutely meet the demands for all surprise things. I'll give you an example. This is our hybrid colony of lion heads. Don't worry, I have an upcoming video that I'm going to be discussing. Can you stop? We see you, okay? We hear you. Goodness. Sorry. So I'll actually be going through colony, cage, and hybrid colonization in another video. So we'll go a little more in depth, but for right now, I'm going to use this cage because we're looking at it as an example. The way that I've used this for multi-weatherproofing is on the back, you see this blue tarping? I'm not sure what side or, direction that's facing. Don't ask me east, west, or any of that. I can't tell you. I do know that that is where they get the most sun exposure. So I block that off. And what we do is we do a partial roof, and then we do open. I don't know if you can see that, but the other side is completely open to the sky. This way, on hot days, if they want to go over there and bunny sunbathe, they can. If they want to lounge up into the shade, they can. This allows them to thermal regulate on their own. Now, when it comes to weather, as far as snow, rain, and cold, what you see here that they're lounging on are actual. Seriously, stop it, bub. Goodness. These are old mineral buckets. So what we do is we just cut a hole in the side, and we try to make sure, I don't know if you can see behind the little sleeping baby there, we do leave a lip there. And the reason for that being is during winter when we use this setup, we actually have wood that's cut out to fit to the bottom of that, and we will screw it on for winter and stuff them with hay. And we also, depending on the size of the cage, I think this one is 8 by 6, I think. We'll probably add one or two more hides in there. We don't keep a buck in this colony, which again, I'll go into with another thing. So we don't have to worry about babies being born during winter or anything, but they do have a completely waterproof, snowproof, warm place to be. Alternatively, during the spring, as you can see, the bottom is open. We remove the wood on the bottom to allow more, airflow and such. And they can go in there if it gets, freak rain or too windy, or they're basically able to self-regulate themselves, which is important. And then, of course, I don't have to be out here freaking out if it rains. I know they have shelter. I know they have, safety. So that is definitely, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. That is definitely something to consider. So that was number 9. Number 10 is one that a lot of people don't really touch base on or consider when they're getting rabbits, but it's something you absolutely should consider, and that is parasites. While it's not very common, rabbits can get fleas. They can also get ticks and things like that, especially in a colony setting. Now, I'm not knocking colony setting. I mean a traditional colony that's on the ground where the creepy crawlies have a little more access to them. By no means, if your rabbits get, fleas or ticks or things, that doesn't mean it's bad management on your end. It just means that, maybe you need to go around the perimeter of the pen with some permethrin. Or, again, when we touch base on predators, raccoons, possums, cats, dogs, these are all animals that are known to carry fleas and ticks. So the exposure is there. Now, if it happens, you have to think about how you're going to treat. There's holistic ways to do it. There's chemical-based things on the market. You have to consider trying to have that up front. What will you do to manage this? So another big thing to talk about as far as parasites that seems to be more common in rabbits. Hold on, I guess we're singing the egg song. Somebody laid an egg, so everybody's going to know about it. Okay. So back on point, another parasite, or a more common parasite that rabbits deal with, is mites. One of the more common being ear mites. And unfortunately, by the time you notice it or discover it, it could have already been a problem for a long time. Sometimes you'll see this presented with the ears being held down. Maybe sometimes they'll tilt their head. But usually by the time you start to see the crust running up the edge of their ears, they've had it a while. They're miserable. They're cranky. You got to do something about it. There are great ways to do that. I can touch base on that in another video if you guys want. I know some of you guys follow us on Facebook. Last year, we did a day-by-day treatment on a rabbit we rescued that had a severe ear mite infestation. So these are things you need to consider. These are things you need to be aware of and have a plan for ahead of time. Because parasites, they happen. It doesn't mean that you're, doing something wrong. It could be just as simple as, maybe you have a feral cat colony. And maybe you have one that didn't come up and try and swipe a bunny out through the side. And she decided, we're going to be friends. Let's lay on the, share the cage space here. And guess what? She just got fleas. Or she just got ticks. And now she's in a colony setting. Or, she's got a friend that she shares a wall with. And oh my gosh. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. Either way, things happen. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing something wrong on your part. But just things happen. Be prepared on how you're going to handle that. So those are the 10 most common things that I like to tell new people getting into the rabbit thing. To make sure that rabbits are for you, consider these 10 things. But there's one more that I think is really important. I guess consider it a bonus. But the biggest thing to consider is, do you like rabbit meat? And I'm not talking about the poor little bunny that you go out and you catch, springtime or whatever, the little wild prey animal that's half dead and scrawny when you get it. I'm sorry, they're prey animal. Okay, we get it. You laid an egg. So, okay, I'm sorry. But yes, you need to consider whether or not you even like rabbit meats. So I think a great way to introduce new people into the rabbit world, especially meat rabbits, I think this will pertain mainly to meat rabbits if you're wanting to consume them themselves or yourself, would be to find yourself a local breeder, get yourself a couple meat rabbits, and go through the process. I knew that was coming. Go through the actual butchering process, dispatch, butcher, prepare for food, get them into the pot, see if you actually like rabbit meat. It's not what you get in the grocery stores. I know a lot of homesteaders are probably watching this and they're going to be like, "Yep, she's right. It's not what you're used to." That doesn't mean it's bad. Actually, it's really good, and I found that it can be substituted into a lot of chicken recipes. And if you don't really say anything, nobody really catches on. I'm so sorry, excuse me. But I mean, obviously be honest and tell people. But honestly, that would be a big thing for me. If you're really considering it and you're serious before you go through all the trouble of educating yourself and investing in materials and dedicating space and jumping into it, make sure it's for you. Like, go through the process. Try rabbit meat. If you're not really ready to jump into the dispatch process, then you're really not ready to do the whole rabbit keeping thing. Unless, of course, you're not going to be keeping them for consumption. I'm not trying to alienate anybody there. What I mean is, if you can't dispatch somebody else's rabbits, chances are you're going to have a really hard time dispatching your own. So I guess my best piece of advice for that is find yourself somebody local that's willing to mentor you, who's willing to say, hey, even if they don't want to let you come out to the farm for biosecurity reasons, maybe set you up some pictures. Be like, can you tell me about your setup? Can you tell me about your management? Can you tell me about your breeding style? Can you just educate me? And I bet you'd be really surprised on how many people would be willing to do that, especially if you can find yourself a homesteader. And I don't mean that to be, disrespectful to any other people out there, but homesteaders tend to be very community based. Like, they don't see you as competition. They're like, this person wants to sustain themselves. I want to help them sustain themselves. Alternatively, if you guys find us on Facebook, Greenwood Farming Game Birds, I don't care where you guys are. I'm in West Tennessee. If you have questions, I'll do my best to help. I'm happy to answer. I don't care where you're located. If I can help you, or if I can't and I know somebody that can, I will absolutely refer you. But if you can find a mentor, that is an absolutely amazing option. So I guess, guys, that'll about cover it. The top 10 things plus a bonus of what to consider before getting rabbits. You guys have been so funny. They're all like, what is going on here? She's just like, I mean, I come out here, but I don't normally stand here and talk at them. So they seem very confused. I apologize, guys, for all the loud noise. I know the chickens were talking, and I hope that I get all of these bases covered and clearly. And I hope I gave you a little bit of food for thought and things to consider before jumping into the rabbits. It's not the same as jumping into maybe gardening or chickens. I get very frustrated when a lot of people try to sell it as, oh, rabbits are so easy. I wouldn't say that they're necessarily easy. If you don't have a good idea of, for instance, the whole breeding process, what happens to the doe, and, gestation and grow outs, if you don't know what to expect, everything is a surprise, and it could lead to you thinking that you're failing. You're going to run into trouble with your does not wanting to breed. You're going to run into trouble with your bucks not wanting to breed. You're going to run into things that you would normally think stereotypically wouldn't be a problem. It is so common for people to say, oh, they're breeding like rabbits. That's such a funny turn of phrase, because I can tell you right now, rabbits don't breed like rabbits. They don't always do that. You have to be able to decipher behavior, what's normal, what's not, what's abnormal. Rabbits, God forbid they're hurt or harmed, are very good at hiding it. I would not say that this is a beginner level animal without educating yourself. Educate yourself. Education is so important, and doing so will absolutely lead you guys to success. And so I think I'm going to go ahead and cut it there, guys. I hope I covered the bases well and I gave you some food for thought. I'm going to leave these guys out here to relax. They're all like, what the heck is going on here? So I think I will catch you on the next one. We'll say bye. We'll say bye. Perfect.